Welcome back to today's video. We'll be review the 2022 drama thriller movie, The Immaculate Room. Get ready to remember all the mysterious parts and romantic moments of this unforgettable movie. The movie begins with Catherine and Michael, a couple who enter a white room. They're amazed by it. Catherine points to a red button and says Michael should press it. Excitedly, he does. A voice explains the rules of a new experiment. They can win $5 million if they stay in the Immaculate Room for 50 days. If one leaves, the prize drops to $1 million. They can't contact the outside world and have no entertainment except each other. They can buy treats using the prize money. Excitedly, they lie down on the floor and start wondering if it's all a dream. Michael suggests that their luck brought them here and they should be grateful, while Catherine views it as a second chance they've earned. Catherine also brings up the idea of splitting the money for an easier life. She plans to invest the money, but Michael finds that boring. He envisions a life of carefree partying without financial worries. Exploring the area, they realize the Immaculate label was no joke. Everything is white, with only a bed and bench present. The bathroom is simple, and the rules allow only one person inside at a time. Catherine occupies the bathroom, and Michael reads the rules on the screen before trying out the food treat. It dispenses what seems like a milk box. Catherine smiles, wondering if breakfast will be more exciting. Michael continues exploring and sets up an alarm clock on the touchscreen, while Catherine opts for an early alarm to establish a routine. Automatic lights indicate different times of day. As night falls, a signal prompts them to go to bed. Michael makes a move on Catherine, but she's concerned they might be under surveillance. Michael is persistent, and they eventually engage in a quiet, fun moment under the covers. The next morning arrives. Catherine goes to the bathroom to look at herself in the mirror and say positive words to lift her spirits. After showering, they toss their clothes into the laundry chute and receive plain but colored pajamas in return. To keep occupied, Catherine speculates on the purpose of the experiment, and Michael shares information about the previous documentary by Professor Voyan. He is the creator of this experiment. The documentary followed a family in America, and Professor Voyan spent $150 million to observe the outcomes. Michael mentions a previous experiment of Voyan's that had a tragic ending for a family. He explains that no one really knows Voyan's motivations, but it's clear he enjoys using his wealth to create unique situations for people due to his fascination with the human condition. Entertainment becomes a challenge earlier than they thought. Catherine turns to meditation for amusement, while Michael often gazes at the clock. He occasionally delves into philosophical discussions, like analyzing the meaning of the color white using his art school insights or debating the right way to brush their teeth. Catherine frequently reminds him to focus on the prize instead of the clock, but it's tough to stay optimistic when Michael's sleep is disrupted. The following morning, Catherine sticks to her routine, offering herself words of motivation to cope with each day. After leaving the bathroom, she finds her boyfriend, who appears bewildered. She cheers him up and suggests he takes a shower. Anxiously, they both take steps to fight off boredom. They jog, engage in playful activities, and dance together. While Catherine persists with her meditation, Michael opts to run and fixate on the clock. Unfortunately, as time passes, the couple gradually starts to lose their sanity. After a few weeks, something different finally occurs. Michael discovers a sneaky bug inside the room. He pets the bug and tries to feed it some of the meal shake. However, when he pours a few drops on the floor, the AI voice reminds them that food is meant for contestants only. Concerned for the bug's survival, Michael asks for a way to let it out, assuring that he doesn't intend to leave. Catherine tells him the AI voice seems to be one way, and Michael decides to press the door opening button. This leads to an argument as Catherine believes pressing the button could make them lose, even if Michael only extends his hand out for the bug. After placing the bug down, Michael tells Catherine that the bug is a living being, and Catherine is lacking in compassion. Catherine accuses him of being condescending because she's not a vegan like him. The argument escalates, and Catherine finally reveals her belief that Michael is vegan just to rebel against his privileged dad, who provided him everything he needed. She suggests he wants artsy street credibility. Catherine tries to walk away from the conversation, but accidentally steps on the bug. Michael struggles to believe her claim that it was an accident and her subsequent apology. Michael doesn't acknowledge her and walks away. A little later, he tells Catherine he's taking a treat, even though it'll cost him $100,000 deducted from his share. Despite this, he takes the treat and finds a green crayon inside. He gazes at the wall, contemplating where to start, and then begins creating his art. Catherine surprises Michael with a hug from behind and requests him to draw a portrait of her. She guides him into position, and Michael starts sketching with the crayon. She encourages him to draw realistically, but he finds that boring and prefers his own style. Observing that Michael isn't interested in a straightforward portrait, Catherine becomes annoyed and feels like he doesn't care. Michael continues drawing until he exhausts the crayon and then washes his hands, leaving a stained towel on the floor and crayon residue on the sink. This irritates Catherine. After cleaning towel, she sits on the floor beside him and apologizes for her behavior. Recognizing that things are getting out of control, she tries to uplift his mood by reminding him they only have 20 days left to complete the challenge. Days keep passing in monotonous routine until one morning, Catherine wakes up to discover a gun in the bathroom. Both of them are too frightened to check if it's loaded, and the gun's presence unsettles them. They decide to hide it under the bed since the AI rules out putting non-clothing items into the laundry chute. After a while, the couple finally receives connect time, allowing them to view messages from their loved ones. Michael receives a message from his sister, updating him on their parents and her perception that Michael and Catherine aren't together anymore. Seeing his sister's message brings Michael joy. However, Catherine becomes distressed when the screen displays a video from her dad, who has managed to find shelter in a homeless shelter after being on the streets. The video continues despite her pleas, leading Catherine to rush and hide behind the bathroom entrance, where she breaks down in tears. Michael joins her to offer comfort. That night, she clings desperately to her boyfriend while sleeping. Catherine remains in bed all day, deeply affected by depression and not responding to the morning alarm. Concerned, Michael shares his worries, prompting Catherine to reveal that she had not seen her father for years. She had lied to Michael about him due to her shame about his drinking habits, which led to the loss of their home, her education, and her chances for a normal life. With a little over 2 weeks remaining, Catherine continues to stay in bed, while Michael attempts to find new ways to keep himself entertained. He experiments with altering his drawings by smudging crayon with his fingers and practices reading the pajama label with different emotions, mimicking acting exercises. He tries to coax Catherine into eating by cracking jokes about the food, but his efforts prove futile. In the end, he joins her in bed, hoping to provide comfort. However, his attempts remain unsuccessful, and at times Michael even chooses to sleep on the floor, seeking any change from the monotony. One morning, Michael wakes up on the floor and encourages Catherine to take the treat, assuring her it's worth it. He mentions they have 18 more days left, and taking treats could help her cope. Michael is concerned that Catherine might also be struggling mentally, but she insists she's fine and will stick to her routine. Later that day, Michael is lying on the floor with spilled food beside him when Catherine approaches and suggests he take his second treat. He complies and goes to the screen to get another one. To their surprise, a woman named Simone enters the room without clothes and introduces herself. Michael is baffled by the situation, and when Catherine arrives, Simone explains she's an actress who was booked for 1-month gig in the room. Catherine is skeptical about Simone's lack of knowledge regarding the room, but Simone explains her manager arranged it for her. Catherine tells Michael to give his shirt to Simone, which he promptly does. Simone explores the room and compares it to a dance studio she used to work in. Catherine is displeased by the situation, and Michael claims he doesn't know what's happening. Simone admires the art on the walls, recognizing Michael's style. Catherine calls Michael and discusses their next steps. As they talk, the lights suddenly turn off. Michael explains to Simone that the lights automatically go off in the evenings. Since there's no spare bed, he offers Simone to share the bed with Catherine while he sleeps on the floor. Shyly declining, Simone suggests she'll stay awake throughout the night. Catherine proposes they all share the bed, with her in the middle, and Simone happily agrees to the arrangement. The next morning, Catherine doesn't find Simone on the bed and assumes she's gone, but Simone is actually in the bathroom. Overwhelmed, Catherine decides to take a treat, receiving a small box with 3 fun candies. She takes one immediately and offers one to Simone. Michael hesitates but eventually accepts one too. The 3 of them start dancing and goofing around, even sharing some group kisses. However, Michael's mood takes a dark turn. He enters a bad mental state, seeing bad things everywhere and experiencing a dream where he's underwater while his younger brother falls with him. The women bring him back to reality, but he continues to panic, mentioning something about Sean and drowning. Catherine has to lead him back to bed and comfort him until he falls asleep. Later, Simone asks Catherine about Michael's distressing words. Catherine reveals that Michael's younger brother Sean drowned in their family pool while Michael was supposed to be watching him. The guilt still haunts Michael because he was high at the time, adding to his emotional burden and explaining his hesitance to accept the candy earlier. Simone inquires about how Catherine and Michael met. Catherine fondly recalls how, on a rainy day, Michael came to her without an umbrella, offering to shield her from the raindrops. When Michael eventually wakes up, Simone shares her own experience of losing her mother as a child. They bond over their shared grief and loss. Simone holds Michael's hand to offer comfort, and when Catherine witnesses this, she becomes alarmed and jumps to the conclusion that Simone is trying to steal her boyfriend. Simone confronts Catherine's behavior, suggesting that Catherine's insecurity drives her outbursts. This sparks an argument. Michael intervenes, telling them to stop, and then walks away. Catherine attempts to apologize, admitting that she might have misunderstood, but Simone adds fuel to the fire by suggesting that maybe it wasn't just a misunderstanding. The following day, Catherine knocks on the bathroom door to check if Simone is almost done, but there's no response. She decides to open the door and finds that Simone has left. Feeling a sense of loss, Catherine shares Simone's departure with Michael. After that, she saw something written on the wall. Then she points out the writing on the wall that says, "Thank him for last night." Michael, disoriented, insists that nothing happened between them. But Catherine remarks that Simone resembled Michael's ex-girlfriend. In her anger, Catherine pushes Michael to the floor, causing him to hurt his head. Michael steps away from her and reminds her of his loyalty, how he never cheated on her even when she moved away, gave up seeing his wealthy friends to make her comfortable, and even abandoned college to support her during her depression. Yet, he's met with jealousy. Tearfully, Catherine continues to apologize, but their conversation is interrupted as Michael starts feeling dizzy. Michael believes he needs medical attention, but Catherine offers him some of the meal shake to raise his blood sugar and covers his wound with a towel. She reminds him that the contract states they can't seek medical help. Michael is taken aback and starts questioning whether Catherine truly cares. Although the wound eventually stops bleeding, he fears how far Catherine might have gone if it had been worse. Perhaps she would have let him die for money. Realizing that the situation has broken them and money can't fix their underlying issues, Michael decides to leave the room. He invites Catherine to join him, but she declines, arguing that it's easy for him to say that because he's always had money. She retrieves the gun and tries to threaten Michael into staying, but he disregards her and presses the button, finally departing from the room. The AI voice then expresses gratitude to Michael for staying and informs them that the prize money has decreased to $1 million. Hearing this devastates Catherine, and she collapses onto the floor. The days pass, and although Catherine manages to remain in the room, she's consumed by crying, shouting, and staring at the wall. 2 days before the contest's end, Catherine slowly approaches the red button and reaches for it. Days later, Michael is running on the street when he sees Catherine coming out of the St. Mary's building. After an awkward greeting, they apologize to each other for their past actions. Catherine reveals she was visiting her father. As Michael walks towards her car, he hesitantly asks if she made it, but she avoids the question and inquires about his life. Beside the building, a plaque commemorates the continued operation of the new St. Mary's kitchen due to an anonymous donor. Meanwhile, in the Immaculate Room, a new couple arrives to take on the challenge. That's the end of the movie. Thank you for watching this video. We hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting videos like this one. We'll see you in our next video.